We've seen the penalties given for Real Madrid this season have been shambolic.
Okay,
No?
fair enough.
There's a stigma. In my opinion, there's a stigma, or maybe I'll give everyone the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it's subconscious. Maybe it's subconscious and they don't know. But Mr. O'Neill said it the best in the interview, which I'm not going to play, but he said in the interview after
Who's O'Neill?
of Gary.
O'Neill.
Oh, Gary O'Neill?
Yeah, of Gary. And Gary O'Neill said it the best after the Manchester City game. He said, look, lads, I'm going to be honest. There's no way that there's any agenda against someone like Wolves, because he kind of self-realized that there just isn't. They're not a big enough team for that to happen. However, do referees subconsciously in the back of their mind have a bit of a bias towards Manchester City with Erling Haaland, with Pep Guardiola, with Kevin De Bruyne, without them even knowing? Do they subconsciously have this agenda that, maybe they're going to get the call because they're just so good? How would they not get the call? So again, I think the Big Six benefit from calls in general. But at the same time, we look across the league, that Adebayo challenge
Is a yellow card.
But it's so is it similar?
It is similar, but it's a yellow card. And
But
I'll tell you why.
again,
There's two main reasons why. Go ahead.
if VAR, like you said, you have been a big hater of it. If we want to trust the referee's instinct on the field, for the most part, it should be clear and obvious error. In this regard, I do think it was a red. So I think that VAR was used properly. I'm being self-aware. I don't see how the situations between the two different circumstances in the Chelsea and in the Arsenal game, how they were that far apart, because they weren't. They were more similar than they were directly different, in my opinion. And at that point, it's like, how do I not take it personally as an Arsenal fan? Because there's been times when people have kicked the ball away before they really cracked down on it, like in the past couple of weeks, and no one's been given a yellow card for it. It happened in the City game. It happened in even the West Ham game. Like the guy kicked, or not the West Ham game, the Brighton game. Is that what the Declan Rice got sent off? Was it Brighton?
Yes, it was.
Even that, he got kicked in the leg and nothing happened, but he got sent off for it. At the end of the day, all I'm going to say is I think referees probably do have some sort of bias in their mind, even if it's subconscious. And now, what I was saying before, and then you guys can totally speak because I'm talking for a while, but now think about it. The next Arsenal game that happens, the referee, whoever's judging it, whoever's officiating it, is going to go into that game and think about it two ways, in my opinion. That's how I would look at it. Subconsciously, at least. They're going to say, okay, Arsenal have a very lackluster disciplinary record recently, so I'm going to make sure that I don't want to get in trouble by their fans or the FA or whoever, whatever. I'm going to make sure that I'm a little more lenient than I usually am. Or they're going to do the reverse. They've had a terrible disciplinary record. We need to crack down on them. If there's anything marginally 50-50 that could be a red card, they're going to give it. But these are subconscious thoughts that happen just because of overlaying stuff that happens over time. So I think that's a genuine fact that needs to be talked about.
So how would you correct this?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know if there is a correction to that.
But it's not fair.
The big games create big pressure, and big pressure is probably going to create more mistakes.
Right. And exactly. Liverpool versus Chelsea is a bigger game than Bournemouth Arsenal. Mm-hmm. They don't want to change the fact. Brighton and Arsenal is a smaller game than Liverpool Chelsea.
I'm not saying the toss and yellow is a mistake. I'm not saying that.
It's not.
I understand where you're coming from. They are slightly different, but they're more similar than they are directly far apart, and that should be noted. And this has happened so many times against Arsenal that there has to be something to be said. And at the end of the day, we freaking sucked at the weekend. We were terrible. That was the most disgraceful performance I've seen from Arsenal in a long time. Arteta had no courage. He didn't bring on the most creative midfielder we had. He took off a winger who I thought, everyone was saying Sterling played well in the first half. I thought he was really not that good. He was so wasteful. But he took off one of our three attacking outlets to bring on a defender against Bournemouth instead of just shifting Declan Rice center back. He played very, very defensive. And we can't do that. So anyway, there's a lot of things wrong with the game, but those are just my opinions.
So you're saying is not a red card. It is a red card. Tosin's thing. There's two main reasons why it's not a red card. The first one is because there's literally a defender right next to Tosin Adebayo, right next to, and don't pull the Ben White shit because he's far away and he's further.
I'll show you a screenshot.
And the second thing is that the ball that is played to Jota is played towards the touchline, whereas the suicide pass that Trossard plays is directly played in front of the goal. And that's why it's not a red card. Because if it was played in front of the goal, then maybe it would have been a red card. But it wasn't. What are you showing me?
But that's what I think you're proving our point with that. Man.
How?
Look how far apart Ben White is from the actual play, where Levi Colwill is directly next to them.
But he's so
Directly next to him.
But they're both not last man. But
If
they're
Tosin
both last-
Adebayo
they're
does
both last
not,
man.
if Tosin Adebayo
They're
does
both
not
last man.
tackle,
It has to be a denial of a clear and obvious goal-scoring opportunity.
Letter of the law says
Letter of the law.
letter of the law.
Exactly. Letter of the law, there's still opinion in it, apparently, because there's, in some opinion, why is he not just running away and Levi Cole is not catching up to him? There's opinion to it. The letter of the law says it has to be denial of a clear goal-scoring opportunity.
It wasn't
but
clear.
that in itself
But it wasn't
isn't
clear.
It wasn't
that,
clear.
That's opinionated.
How is
I
that
don't
opinionated, brother?
That's opinionated.
In
Watch
my
the video.
opinion, in my fucking opinion, he could technically just have run away and Levi Cole couldn't have caught him up.
Yes, he absolutely could have, because one, Levi Cole was
done.
ball
I'm
side,
not doing this.
and
I'm
two,
over it.
the
Whatever.
ball was going to the touchline, not the goal. The suicide pass that Trossard plays to
Whatever.
Saliba is going straight to the goal. If Saliba doesn't tackle Evan Nielsen is through on goal and he's scoring that.
I'm
Whereas
just-
if Tosin Adebayo does not tackle, who is it, Jota?
Yeah.
If he doesn't tackle Jota, Levi Cole is one is catching up and two, the ball's going out. It's not a direct goal scoring opportunity.
Okay, I said my piece, you said your piece. I hate doing this every week. It's actually exhausting. Like, you guys have no fucking idea what it's like. Like, genuinely, you don't.
What do you?
No,
what?
it's exhausting.
You're
Guys,
acting like you've been through war here. What is it?
have you noticed the fucking... Okay.
Have you noticed the what?
Bro, have you not watched the games, like, when we had red cards? How, like, they're not just red cards. They're, like... There's always something. Why did there have to be another one so similar? Why this didn't have to be controversy, but it just happened because of course it did. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys,
But they're different scenarios,
But-
Blake.
but they're still similar. Like,
But
you're
they're
acting
not
like
the
you guys look at me
same.
like I'm a fucking baby. Oh, but they're different, Blake. Like, you need to understand. No, I'm hot-headed because it keeps happening, and you guys look at me like I'm fucking crazy. That there's no coincidence. That this should just be. I should just let it go.
they're
Because
similar. I agree.
no, but you look at me like I'm stupid. That this isn't, that I shouldn't feel some unjustness for at least one of the 3 red cards that we've gotten given.
Well, yeah, obviously. Some of them have been
I
wrong.
don't-
and
I
I've-
mean,
and I've-
Julian certainly hasn't been on my side on any of them. So it's just annoying. No, it's just frustrating that I have to come on this podcast every week. Frustrating that my team lost. Frustrating that I have to talk about another fucking red card controversy. And then for you guys to look at me like I'm fucking stupid. I'm not. It's frustrating. And you need to understand that there are similarities and that if you were in my position, you would be losing your mind.
Can you see our side of it as well?
Yes, but you guys clearly don't seem to see my side.
I see your side.
See your side, mate.
I just feel like you're not seeing our side. Because if Tosin doesn't tackle, what happens?
I just told you what my opinion on it was.
How are they? One of the fastest center backs in the Premier League.
Like, honestly, when I saw it live, I kind of thought it was a yellow too, but the same thing. When I saw this one live, you look at the replay and Ben White was like far away, but he could have got there.
No, he can't.
Of all 3 red cards that you've gotten this
I
season,
told you this one
Do you
was the
think this
most
is-
red. Yes, I've
Okay.
said that 7
Yeah,
times.
he has.
that's true. No, I'm sorry.
It's just in comparison, and I get it, but like again, red cards are they're opinionated too. We could have just talked about how shitty we played, but then there had to be another controversy. There had to be one so similar to it for people to talk about it. And that's what's frustrating, is that it just seems like there's always something similar that doesn't go in our favor. Every single week or every single controversy. There's been,
I think so many teams have that argument, is what I'm saying.
bro,
Obviously,
Arteta's been
you're going to
appointed.
think that way because
you support
because
that
you
team.
digest the most Arsenal and you feel the most connected
but
towards Arsenal.
everyone's talking
You're not
about
going to
it,
remember
like-
the time in April when maybe Nottingham Forest was denied a few points. But you're going to remember it with Arsenal. Like, you're going to remember all your red cards and all of that. And I bet if we brought on like a Wolves fan or something on this podcast, they will give us example after example after example.
I'm sure Wolves are mad too.
So
They got done out by VAR too.
if you want to have a genuine reffing conversation about the decisions that they be making towards the entire league, I'm absolutely
I've
here
done
for.
that.
I'm
No,
absolutely
you
here for.
don't though.
No,
because
no,
it's
I am
Arsenal.
here
You
for it.
don't know.
I am here for it. No, I am here for it.
God,
Bro, there's a big. Is there not a big? There was a debate from Arsenal fans, whatever, about City's goal, their winner against Wolves. It was a bit controversial because Bernardo Silva was hounding the keeper, and by the time that the actual header by John Stones went in, people were debating like, okay, should that be considered offside or not? On the field, it was ruled offside,
Yep.
and they overturned it. That was controversial. If I bias in any way, I'd be so happy to go. Oh my God, Wolves robbed, City getting away with it again. These cheating scums, whatever. But just look at these things objectively, mate. All right.
Again, you're coming at me for my opinions again. This is exactly why I don't like fucking doing this. I just fucking told you that every single time we do this, I tell you that that I feel like there's an injustice. You say, look at it objectively. I'm not talking about the other team. I'm talking about us right fucking now. And everyone, sure, they might have the same opinions, but then you say, oh, but just look at it objectively. No, I can't, because it keeps happening to us. This happens. It's been 3 game weeks. Arteta has had the most red cards since he's been appointed. Arsenal had the most red cards over any team in the league. And you're telling me the reputation of Granit Xhaka and the reputation of other players didn't have something to do with that? When a card would have been 50-50? Happened with Bruno the other fucking week. And you're going to tell me that these biases, these small little things do not come into play and look at it objectively? No, because they don't look at it objectively.
I think going that far out and saying that the referees are inherently, subconsciously biased.
They are. They must be.
But I think that's a.
I can't wait for something bad to happen to United, like refereeing wise, and you're gonna be on your ass because you guys don't understand, because it hasn't happened to you recently. You clearly don't understand. It's the most frustrating thing ever.
If you psychoanalyze every single Premier League game, I'm sure you can find like
No.
10 Premier. Or
So
10
why isn't it
refereeing
here?
mistakes.
Why isn't it here?
What do you mean? Why isn't it here?
Why aren't we talking about it?
We are.
No, we're not. We're talking about the Arsenal one, not the ones that happened in random games that it didn't occur. We're talking about the ones that happened.
Because
Give me examples. I don't
Because
care.
you're the biggest club, and obviously we're going to talk
No,
about
but
it
I don't
because it's your
care
club.
if we're the biggest club. This is the biggest league. I'm sure one of us would see it somewhere on some football news page.
Because
But you
guys are
haven't. No, but you
directly-
haven't
because
this
you guys
season.
are directly
No, but you
challenging for the
haven't this
title.
season. You haven't this season. You guys look at me, and I get I'm being a little like annoyed right now. But you guys, I swear, you look at me like I'm a lunatic when I tell you how I feel, and I give you a scenario that makes sense about how people objectively look at games, and it's hard to not be somewhat subconsciously biased, and I'm never gonna get through to you. So that's why there's just no point anymore.
How do you feel about this, Miles? Do you think there's an Arsenal agenda?
I mean, like, I don't know how to answer that, to be honest. because
Just slaved my wife away, and he said,
no,
I don't know.
no, I'm listening to you, and I'm listening to both sides of the story, and you know,
I get where you two are coming from.
because
Thank you, Blake.
we briefly talked about this the other day. Like, it's very frustrating that it somehow continues to keep happening. But at the same time, like, what the fuck is Arteta teaching these guys in training? Like, how have we got like the first 2 were 2 yellow cards. Don't be a fucking idiot when you get the first yellow. Someone needs to tell all of our players that. And second of all, with those decisions, it's like ever since we've had VAR, we've had these issues. Just like it sucks, and you move on, and nothing happens, and it is what it is, and you go to bed pissed off. And that's the life we live in. And you have to deal with it. It's the best league in the world. It's entertaining. I love the Premier League. That's just the way it goes.
And once again,
So-
we played horrible. Like I never did not say that.
played
Like we didn't
terrible.
lose because of the red card.
Played
Like
so poorly.
obviously we probably did in a sense. We probably found a winner or whatever. But we played terrible. We didn't deserve to win. But again, I brought up the Bayern thing, and don't laugh at me when I say this because, again, in my opinion.
No, because you said this earlier. You said you said this earlier.
No,
You
'cause
said
I'm
when you're
fucking
not
heated,
supposed to
bro.
laugh, it's harder not
fine,
to
bro.
laugh. And you said it yourself, so now you can't do
I'm
that.
actually never having sympathy for any of your fucking teams ever.
You
again.
can't do that. You can't do
Nah,
that.
it's
Like, just
just
finish your
frustrating.
thought.
Because
Finish your
in my
thought.
opinion, that was the most blatant. Like I've seen so many penalties given, like since that point, that are so much softer than that. I don't want to hear what the fuck you guys.
So you're
have
saying
to
there's
say.
also
no. I don't literally.
So
do
there's
not,
also a.
I don't care what you think because you're just gonna disagree with me.
I'm not going to disagree with you. Do you think? I'm asking you a question. Do you think that there's an Arsenal agenda on the European stage as well?
I don't know, but all I know is that genuinely, I believe in all of my heart that should have been a penalty. In all of my heart, in all of my being, that should have been a penalty.
And
And it starts, and that's why I said it starts from there, because it just keeps adding on. And again, that one doesn't directly relate, but it just adds to my frustration. And every time something like this happens again, I just get even more angry that why?
rightfully so.